Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Monday, August 17th, 2020, and we again find ourselves in the final hour of the trading day. This hour, the last hour, and particularly in the last few minutes are my favorite time to make my buying and selling decisions for my swing trades. During the day, you have the algorithms, you have the day traders. They are the ones that are in control of the price. At the end of the day, the large financial institutions start waking up, they start making their trades. At the end of the day, I consider them smart money. They move the market, and therefore I like to follow what they are doing at the end of the day. So thank you all for coming today. Always nice to see everybody. I always look forward to this part of the day. I think we have a great group. I'm very, very grateful for that. And thank you all for coming. And I hope that by spending time here, it's helping you with your trading and your investing. So Dan is here. Hello, Dan. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're having a nice day. David is here. Hello, sir. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Evan is here. Hello, Evan. Good afternoon to you. Bob is here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Bob. And Quad Racer. Good afternoon, Greg and group. Good afternoon to Quad Racer. All right. Well, currently, Dow is down 76 points, down 0.27%. The NASDAQ is the strong one on the day, up 115 points, up 1.05%, and the S&P is up 10.54, up about 1/3%. So Kamal is also here. Hello, Kamal. Good to see you, and thank you so much for sending me the results of your scanner. As always, that is always much appreciated. All right, so listen, we've got a lot to get through today, a lot of things to look at. So just real quick format for today. First of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, get that out of the way, come back. We're going to take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them moving forward. After that, I have had some day trades today that I'm going to share with you as well. After that, we're going to take a look at your positions up on the board, see how those are doing. I see a few of them are doing really well. After that, we're going to switch gears, talk about trader psychology, trader philosophy, just good trading words of wisdom. I mention this every day, but the most important skill that you can develop in trading, it is not your charting and your and your indicators. It's really not. It's coming up with a good, solid plan based upon good trading principles, like keeping losses small, letting winners run, but it's following that plan. That is the key. That is what we need to work on every single day. I promise you, you can have the best trading system in the world, but if you cannot follow it, it's not going to do you any good. You can have a mediocre trading system, but if you follow it, I think you're going to be just fine. So we're going to talk about that. After that, like I mentioned, Kamal has sent me his scanner today. We're going to take a look at those, see if anything looks interesting. I have 3 requirements whenever I look to enter a new trade. First requirement, look for a confluence or a combination of signals. I look at each indicator like MACD and RSI, moving averages, ATR channels, V1, V2s. I look at those as separate groups of buyers, and you will put yourself in the best position to have a positive trade if you're in the company with as many other buyers, many other groups of buyers as possible. And that's why I look for a confluence of indicators lining up, or another way to say it, I look for a confluence of groups of buyers lining up. Step 2, even if you have a great confluence, you really have to look at it. You have to put the chart in context, and you have to make sure you have a good risk to reward. 2 to 1 is my minimum. So if I'm risking $100, I want to be able to make $200 or more to the upside. So it's very important. You can have all the confluences and combinations of indicators that you like, but you know, like I said, you have to keep it in context. You have to look at where the trigger's happening. What's the RSI? What are the ATR channels? What's your risk to reward ratio? And the number 3, very important, especially in a time like this, please make sure you take a look at your positions. Make sure that you're not too heavily correlated in any one sector, and you don't have too much account heat, meaning that a percentage of your capital at risk, even if you have completely diversified type of industries and holdings. 60% is my maximum. This is something I learned from working with Stephen Burns, and it really does make sense to me. Keep a little bit of powder dry, but keep in mind, in this time when the market's going up and everybody's making money, just adding and adding and adding and adding. But you know how it goes. I've mentioned this many times. Stocks go down much faster than they go up. And so, keep that in mind. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to go through the list of the scanner. I'm going to identify some potential end-of-day candidates. At the end of the day, I'm going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, see if I can find just the best one that has the best confluence of indicators, the best risk to reward ratio, and also keeping in mind the positions I already have. And then after that, when the market closes, if anybody has any questions for me, please let me know. If there's any stock symbols you'd like me to look at, please let me know. If there's any stock symbols that you'd like me to look at before the market closes, and it would be helpful for you to get my opinion on it before the market closes, go ahead, put it in the chat. Please make sure you put an asterisk by it so that I know it's time sensitive, or an emoji. All right, and then if you have any new entries or exits today, if you could please hold off, just wait till after the market closes so I have time to concentrate on that. Pressure's off, market's closed, business is done. I would really appreciate that. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, and I'll be back in about 40 seconds. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, Frank is here. Hello, sir. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're having a good day. Hope you had a nice weekend. Kevin Frost is here. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I hope you had a good, thank you, and I hope you had a good weekend as well, Kevin. All right, well, let's get to it. Let's start off with Domino's Pizza. I bought Domino's Pizza. Gary bought Domino's Pizza. He bought it back here with a 520 cross at 391.76. I also bought it here. I didn't like what happened. I got out here, but I re-entered. This is kind of the importance of re-entering a trade, even if you've taken a previous loss. If you get another valid signal, take it. I like this signal here. It was a V1 false breakout to the downside. I bought here at 389.20. It is now 407.92. So I do scale out of my position partially every time it goes up a certain amount. I did hit two profit targets today at 402.66 and 406.33. So this has been a really, really nice trade. It has moved above my level to where I start to trail. So I'm far above that. That's the orange line. 70 RSI is right here, and it has a confluence with that third ATR channel. So at this point, if I get it closed below the previous day's low, I will most likely exit or exit half of my position. If I get up here to the 70 RSI and it rejects that, I will most likely get out of the position or sell half of the position, depending on what it looks like when it happens. And then if it rejects the 70 to the upside, I'll get out of half. And then if it closes below that previous low, I'll get out of the full amount. But this has been a really, really nice trade so far. For me, on this last one, it's been 4.96%. So really, really good. The bars look good. Doesn't look like we need to do anything. It'd just be great if I could hit that third profit target. EVRG. Kamal and I bought EVRG. I like this setup. Under 30, over 30, plus a V2. Bought it here at 53.54. Right now it is at 53.26, so slightly down on the trade. Not too bad. My stop will be a close below the 30 RSI, and we're at 31.13. And when you enter an under 30 over 30, the idea is you have, a nice possible upside if you've caught that short-term bottom, but if you're wrong, you can get out quickly with just a close under 30. So that goes for all trading, right? Just put yourself in a position so if you're wrong, you can be wrong small, and if you're right, you have some room to be right large. Intel. All right, so Bob, let's see, Dan, Quad, Karen, Gary, David, Bob, and myself, we did buy Intel. I like this as well. It's a higher low V2, under 30, over 30, under the negative third, over the negative third. It's really just wound up ever since I've bought it. It's just moved sideways, 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 sideways. It keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. This was a little larger, but these sideways motion, this is going to rev up to go one way or the other. I like that MACD is positive. That, gives me a little bit more confidence that if it does start to move, it will move to the upside. But of course, we never know. It was positive at one point, but now it's it's positive on the day, but it was above the entry point at one point, but now it's gone back below. But anyway, so far so good. Nothing I have to do there. MDB, Kamal and I did buy MDB back here on the 12th. Kamal bought it at 193 even intraday. I waited till the end of the day. I bought it at 194.98. Moved up nicely the next day. Friday was sideways. Today it is up 2.3%, and I did hit one profit target. This blue line up here is the 50 RSI. That's what I'm going to be targeting. If tomorrow it goes up, hits that 50 and closes below, I'll get out of half my position. If it then closes below that low, I will get out of the other half of the position. That's how I like to do my exits based upon the RSIs. But anyway, up 2.34%, so pretty good. S&P, real quick, I do buy the S&P every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take the overnight risk. I sell it first thing the next morning. This is based upon a long-term back-tested study from Liz Ann Saunders at Bespoke Invest on Twitter. Since 1993, they tested two different approaches. Approach number one, buy the SPY at the open, hold it through the entire day, sell at the close. If you use this approach every day since 1993, you'd have returned a negative 13.9% return for all your work and trouble. However, if you do the opposite, which is what I do, buy the SPY at the close, hold it overnight, take the overnight risk. That's where I feel like the edge is in this system. Sell first thing the next morning. Positive 634. So this approach, negative 13.9. This approach, positive 634.2. Past performance is no guarantee of future results, but if I'm gonna allocate money towards a trade, it's going to be a trade that has good back-tested results, and this clearly has good back-tested results. Blue line, buy at the close, sell the next morning. Over time, all this has done has gone up, although there are significant drawdowns. So if you're thinking of using this approach, please, please, please use a small position size, something that you can handle a year drawdown, right? Maybe like a 5% position size or 10% position size, or take your maximum loss and divide the value of the 2 ATR in it, and that will keep you out of trouble because it will account for volatility. So I did buy the SPY Friday at 336.84, and I sold it this morning at the open at 337.91. So over $1 for the overnight trade. So that's how it's supposed to work. Doesn't always work, but that's how it's supposed to work. So I will buy this again today at the close. TDAC, Karen, Quad, and myself, we did buy TCDA. I bought it on the 13th. I bought it at 14.09, and it's had a huge day today. It's up 6.14%. Did hit one profit target here, although I didn't actually hit it here. I hit them both up here because it gapped. So I got some positive slippage. So that's, and then I hit one more at the very, 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 very top. Let me just show you. This is based upon a fractal trade. think if you remember, I liked this sideways motion that was happening. I liked that the alligator was asleep. That's the green, red, and the blue line. It was asleep. Then it took out this fractal. Here's a high. A fractal is a high with two lower highs to the left, two lower highs to the right. I bought it at 1409, and it is a monster today. Look at that volume. So anyway, it very, very, very close to my trailing stop. I mean, within pennies. So I don't think I'm going to get too obsessive about it. This is, I mean, it's a 6.21% move. So at this point, yeah, I will start locking in a trailing stop with the close below the previous day's low. Or if we go higher, here's the 50 RSI. And again, if we went up, rejected the 50, I'd get out a half, then I'd wait for a close below the previous low to get out of the second half. But I'm very, 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 very happy with that trade today. XLF. Okay, this is a trade that I took on a weekly basis. Friday, XLF closed above the 200-day at 25.13. It is down 1.63% today, but I base I base this trade off of next Friday's close because each bar is 1 week. So I won't do anything with this unless it closes below the 200. Right now, it kind of looks like it's going to, right? But one thing, when I position size on the weekly, I use the 2 ATR value on the weekly, which is much higher, which means I buy much fewer shares because you get larger moves. So anyway, I'll just play this one out. If it closes on Friday, if it closes below the 200, I'm just out of there. If it closes above the 200, then I will keep it. Okay. Apple. I've had some nice day trades on Apple today. Let me take you through them quickly. All right, here's the first one I bought here. V1 close over the 200-day moving average on the 5-minute. I bought it at 456.72. It just went perfect, up, up, up. It did reject the 50 moving average here. See, that's the gray line. Although it did stay over the 200, I was a little torn what to do, and I was like, well, my rules say if it rejects the 50, get out. So I did. So I got in at 456.72 and I got out at 458.20. So that was a nice trade. Then I took this trade here, higher low V2. Here's bar 1, 2, 3. Bar 2 washes out bar 1. Bar 3 closed above bar 1. I got in at 457.60. It moved up my way nicely, 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 nicely. I got out here at 458.55. So I got in at 457.60 and I got out at 458.55, so almost $1. And then here's my last trade. Close above the 200-day moving average. This gives me a very good risk to reward ratio. If the next bar closed below the 200, even by a penny, I just go ahead and get out. It went under intraday or intrabar, but then closed back above. So I got in here at 458.67, and then we had this kind of climax bar here that went above the 70, under 70 RSI, rejected the third ATR channel. I decided to get out there, so I got in at 458.67 and I got out at 459.75, so a bit over $1. All right, now Goldman Sachs. Boy, I missed this trade by just a little bit. I took this trade here when we had a V1 false breakout to the downside. I bought it at 202.97 and it just dumped on me the very, very next bar. So I got in at 202.97. I got out at 202.74. So 23 cents, not too bad. But I was so close. I was so close to the right spot, but sometimes you're close, but not close enough. So I took a loss there. And then lastly, VIX. So this was a little frustrating here. I did take, where are we? Oh yeah. So this bar here, I took the trade intra-bar when it formed a V1 and it also, or a V2 from here, and also false breakout to the downside. I got in at 24.60, and the next bar, the same bar, got me out. So I got in at 24.60 and I got out at 24.56. So I only lost 4 cents. Then I had the next trade. You know, I mention quite often, if you have one trade and it goes against you, but you get another setup, you know, have the guts to take it. I bought it here with the V1 false breakout, and then the next bar closed below halfway of the washout bar. So I took 2 losses in a row on VIX, and that's when it took off. But anyway, I mean, a little frustrating, but still positive on the day from the day trades and from the my regular swing trades. Hey, Frank has a poem. The greatest profit you can find, even more valuable than a gold mine, is to have peace of mind. Boy, that's true. Throw in a slice of humble pie and you can see there's more to success than meets the eye. Wow. So great, Frank. Let me take another crack at that. The greatest profit you can find, even more valuable than a gold mine, is to have peace of mind. Throw in a slice of humble pie and you can see that there's more to success than meets the eye. That's so true. Peace of mind is such a major thing in trading, and that is why, you know, I recommend having a good trading plan, because a good trading plan will give you peace of mind. It doesn't mean you're going to always win or be profitable, but it keeps you from going, oh, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Right? If you have a plan, then you just follow the plan, win or lose, but at least it gives you peace of mind. Steve Burns here. Hey, bud. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day, sir. Always appreciate you coming here. Always an honor. Always a privilege. Steve says, always epic trading versus Frank. Man, I totally agree. 100%. All right. Let's go on over to everybody else's trades and see what's happening. Okay, Frank and Bob did buy Johnson & Johnson. V2 here, 147.39. It is at 149.01, up about little over 0.5% today. Great. A couple things I've noticed. One, it's rejected the 1 ATR channel once, twice, 3 times. So that's kind of a level that it doesn't like up there. But anyway, very nice trade there, gentlemen. Spot Karen. I remember I liked this trade when it happened. False breakout to the downside. V2 bought it at 253.90. Went up, came back down, blah, 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 but up 3.29% today. So very nice, Karen. Does anybody else have that? No, that's just Karen. Very nice, Karen. Procter & Gamble. Brian bought Procter & Gamble back here at 123.80. 128.30, I mean. 128.30, and this has been a wonderful trade. Up a little bit today. SO. Gary did buy SO back here at 54.45 with the 520 crossover. Looks like it is crossing under today. 53.82. Oh, it's still above 53.82, and the 20 is 53.81. So if you're trading that mechanically, you'd stay in unless that closed underneath. SWBI, Smith and Wesson brands. Quad Racer did buy it at 25.77, down 3.35% today. So this V2 here, or this V1, has not held. Levi, Bob did buy Levi at 12.50 on this bullish engulfing bar. V1 had a nice big up move, did reject the 3rd ATR channel, did reject the 50, which sometimes, you know, can be a bad sign, although I like how it has recovered a lot from the low today. So that's a good sign for Bob. Caterpillar, Brian did buy Caterpillar here at 145.19. And unfortunately, that one was just the top right there. It's been down 4 days in a row here, down 0.488, but is coming back into the value zone. FCFS, Bob bought first cash. Bob M, nice trade. 58.10, under 30, over 30, V2, moved up nicely, nicely, nicely. Had a couple days down, up slightly today, but nice trade so far. Netflix, Brian bought Netflix here at 509 even, and that one was more of a top area as well. Had a pretty significant sell-off. We have had 4 days of rally, which is good, but that one's slightly down on the trade. FAS, Frank, and a bunch of us bought FAS back here with the 520 crossover at 33.79. Good back-tested approach to trading FAS. Moved up nicely, 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 just as advertised with the crossovers, although they don't work all the time. But when they do, this is what they look like. A bunch of us got out. I think I got out here. A bunch got out here. I know Frank took 90% of his profits here and left a little 10%er. But this one is down slightly. But I know Frank's definitely up nicely on the trade. FSLY, Brian bought FSLY at 79.79 back on the 13th. Slightly underwater on the trade by about 20 cents. All right. Car. Frank and Jayhawk MBA. That's right. I remember that. Bought at 29.54. It is at 29.79, up 0.91%. So very nice there. Facebook. Brian's had a great trade on Facebook. He bought at 240, 298 and 235 even. So he is well in the money on this trade. Up about 3 cents today is all on this one. Amazon. Brian bought Amazon back here at 30.57, moved up nicely, has been kind of in a sideways motion, but it is up 1.39% today, so very nice, Brian. Costco, Glenn had a great trade on Costco when it broke out of the 330 level, just went way up, then came way down, and up 1.12% today. RTX, Brian bought RTX here at 64.95. And that was about the top right there, unfortunately. So down 1.27 today. Sherwin-Williams. Brian bought Sherwin-Williams here at 648.69. It is now 667.93 at 0.21%, but nicely up on the trade. Google. Brian, Gary, and David bought Google here at 1504. And kind of moved sideways, and then started to go up and a little down, but up 0.95% today. So all of you are nicely in the trade, nicely in the money. Brian did buy Microsoft back here at 214.84. Moved sideways, went down, it's recovered a little bit, up 0.5% today, but a little down on the trade. DRI, Bob, who's hot. Bob's hot right now. Bob bought DRI at 76.50, and this has been really, really nice trade. Down a little bit today, but very nicely up on the trade. Karen, Karen bought SPCE Virgin Galactic at 1877. Was down much lower today, but it has lost the 50-day moving average, so slightly down on that one. RBA, Glenn, one of the most amazing trades I've ever seen, 44.60 on Ritchie Brothers, RBA, and this has been a monster. Had these kind of climax bars here, but keeps going up. It's a 91.38 RSI. It's unbelievable. So congratulations there. AMD, Brian having a good day on AMD, 82.72. He bought it. It's 82.44. Slightly underwater on the trade, but made a nice comeback today. OSTK. Oh, Brian, very nice. Brian bought OSTK at 97.90. It is up 27.0, roughly 27% today. Wow, overstock. What a beautiful trade, Brian. Congratulations. Square also bought at 140.33. It is at 150.101, up 7%. So some big moves for Brian. Congratulations, Bri. Stitch Fix. Hey, this is what I like to see. Gary bought Stitch Fix back here at 22.56. It is now up at 24.45, up 4% today. And roughly up 8% on the trade, Gary. Wow. Very nice. And lastly, PayPal. Brian bought PayPal at 174.01, had a huge move up. We had a little bit of a pullback, but up nicely today. So all in all, some really, 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 really nice trades. Holy smokes. Glenn says XLI, XLE, XLF are all down while XLY, XLK, and XLP lead. Market rotating back to leaders from quarter one to quarter two. Sounds about right, Glenn. Thanks for that. Gary is here. Hey, Gary. Nice trade on, I think, is it Gary? No. Gary had it, but I think he sold it. Oh, no. I have David and Gary still in Stitch Fix, so maybe that's right. All right. Before we get on to the psychology section, let me quickly just take a look at current positions, see how everything's doing. Domino's Pizza is delivering. I know that's horrible, but the trade is delivering, right? So that's up nicely. EVRG, that one's down a skosh, but it is holding the 30 RSI, so that's my end of day stop. Intel was up much, it is up a bit, but it was up much higher earlier, but it is still holding the 30 RSI. MDB, it's doing great, up 2.75%. SPY had the nice overnight SPY trade, buying that again. And then XLF is the stinker today, but that is a weekly trade. Oh, sweet. Gary says, thanks, Greg. Yes, still holding Stitch Fix. Oh, so glad. You don't realize when I look at your positions, when I get up in the morning, I'm either ecstatic or pained when I see they're up or down. And then when I see names on there and I think, wait a minute, did I take them off? Did they say they got off? I was like, man, I hope they didn't get out. I mean, you know, in hindsight, but I'm glad to hear that, Gary. Fantastic, my friend. All right. So listen, before we head over and take a look at my potential end of day trade candidates, I want to switch gears quickly, get away from charts, talk more about the psychology of trading, the important part of trading, everybody. Really, I mention this each day, but I'm a broken record on this because it's so true. I've mentioned before, you can have the best trading you can have the best trading system or approach or strategy in the world. But if you can't follow it, then what good is it, right? Or you can have a mediocre trading approach, a very simple trading approach. Like I'm staying in the 200, I'm staying in the S&P, SPY over the 200. I'm staying in it. I'll only get out if it closes underneath. Sounds pretty simple. I can't think of a more simple trading approach in the world than that, right? But if you can't follow it, what good does it do? That's a very simple system that has great back-tested results. So, you know, there's some really good Facebook and Twitter channels out there. They spend a lot of time and energy making posts for us, and those posts are worth their weight in gold. If we would just read them, just internalize them, they're good advice. One of my favorite is Trading Composure, at Trading Composure on Twitter. It's a great channel, everybody. You should really, really subscribe to this if you have not. Trading Composure really gets deep into the psychology of trading because he knows how important it is. But let's see what he says here. One yardstick to measure your progress as a trader is not how often you're winning, but how composed you are when you're losing. One yardstick to measure your progress as a trader is not how often you're winning, but how composed you are when you're losing. You know, I used to play a lot of poker, and if any of you have played poker, you probably understand. You go to a poker game, you get that one guy who's like a solid, they call him a rock, right? That's a solid rock, plays really solid, only plays the best hands. And, sometimes he gets beat, but, he holds it together no matter how bad he gets beat. But then you have that other person out there that, sure, he plays pretty well, or she plays pretty well when they're playing and winning, but when they start losing and they start getting bad beat, they hit one outers against them, meaning only one card in the deck could beat them and it just happens to come out, then they fall to pieces. You've seen it in movies, right? So it's not about how composed you are when you're winning. It's pretty easy to be composed, and it's pretty easy to follow your rules when you're winning. But what kind of trader are you when you're losing? That's really the yardstick of how you're progressing as a trader. If you're losing and you're getting whipsawed and you're getting news, news comes out and hurts your position, it's like getting punched in the face. Like Mike Tyson says, yeah, I got a plan for this boxing match, but the plan goes out the window if you get punched in the face, right? And if you have a bad couple days or a bad couple weeks, you might be okay at first, but after a while it just starts wearing on you, and then you make bad decisions. Most of the people that I know, when they get into a real losing streak, they buy too much, they don't really think it through. So one yardstick to measure your progress as a trader is not how often you're winning, or in other words, not how composed you are when you're winning. It's pretty easy to be composed you're winning, but how composed you are when you're losing. That's really when you're making progress as a trader, is when you're losing, but you're still keeping it together, you're still position sizing correctly, you're still following your rules. That's if you're in a losing slump and this happens, that's when you're progressing as a trader. So anyway, this is an important post. So please remember that if things get bad with your trading, and they will, I hate to say it, everybody goes through drawdowns, but take a moment and reflect and say, how am I doing? I'm losing here, but am I following my rules? Am I keeping it together? Am I being a good loser and sticking with my plan? So that's when you're making, you're maturing as a trader, when you're trading the same way, whether you're winning or you're losing. Hope that helps, and thank you, Trading Composure. That's a fantastic post. Kamal says Google has a V2. Yes, it does. It does have a V2. It's above 50 RSI. That's all good. Hey, Marco. Good to see you, my friend. How you doing? Hope you're having a good evening. Nice to see you again. Double Trouble is here. Hey, Double Trouble. How you doing? Thanks for saying hi. Hi right back at you. All right, let me take a little look-see here. Ooh, Apple's had a big move here, like it does often at the end of the day. Look at that. Bounced right off that 200-day. That was it. Boy, Domino's making a high for the day. Oh, so close. 410. Ooh, get on up there. Get on up there, baby. That would be great. Okay. Let's go through. There's quite a few candidates here today that I want to look at, so we'll go through them and see how they look. DBX. I do kind of like this. I don't like the big move down, but I like that it finally held some support here. It was above the 200, under, closed under, above, closed under, above, closed under, above, closed under. But today, it is finally looking like it may close over. Let me take a look at the, may have gone under 30, over 30 on Friday, but I don't think so. But we do have a nice V2, and from a sideways motion, stab down reversal over the 200-day moving average, up 2% today. I know Kamal bought this intraday, and I think he's going to hold it as long as it's over 200. This is Dropbox. Let's look over here on the weekly. On the weekly, it has held the 50-week moving average, so that's not too bad either. You know, it's good to look for confluences of signals on multiple time frames. So I do like that it rejected the 50-week moving average on the weekly as well so far. So this one is definitely a potential candidate for me today. Second one, BZUN. It's a beautiful return to value, sideways motion, stab down, reverse, and back over. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here. We have a rejection of the 50-day moving average. We have a V2. We have an under 50, over 50. And again, from above the 1 ATR channel into the value zone, lots of sideways motion, and 520 crossover, under 50, over 50. My only concern here, I'm going to keep it up here, but my only concern is I don't like to take V1s, V2s right here at the 1 ATR channel, because that's the first standard deviation of resistance. But we'll see. We'll see on this one. But it's a beautiful return to value, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, reverse back up. It's also a false breakout from this range, rejection of the 50, under 50, over 50. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly, yeah, it's okay. That's okay. So that one's a potential as well. Cloudflare. Well, we came down into the value zone. We came up. The only thing is we have a lower high than here. Here's the high. This is lower than the previous high. When you get a return to value at the lower high, I prefer to wash out and get a false breakout to the downside. So, I mean, it's a nice V1 here. It's a nice, looks like under 50, over 50 V2. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly's okay. Preferred in the value zone, but that one's okay. But again, we have a lower high here, and if we have a lower high, I like to wash out those previous lows. So I am going to put that one over here. JO. Higher low break back over the 200. Looks like it had a V1 at one point. You know, I was looking at this earlier in the day, and I just don't like the volume. You can see how choppy it is during the day. So I'm going to let that one go as well. STAA. Whoa, that was the sound of F-35. Kamal says BZUN has earnings on 8/21. Okay, good to know. Let's see. This is okay. This is okay as well. It has a false breakout to the downside and a V2 on the weekly. In the value zone, I like that a little better. Star Surgical Company. So we'll keep that one. Blue, nice false breakout to the downside. V1 or V2. It's at a 48.19. It's well off of its highs, so I'm going to have to let this one go. This one got very, very close to the 50 RSI, and that's where some natural resistance would come in. Yeah, it got stopped at 49.52. It doesn't mean it can't go higher, that's for sure, but I'm going to let that one go. Box. MACD crossover, strong volume, weekly V2. I think there's better. I think there's better than that. Although that is a big strong bar. PRT, Did trigger a higher low V2 earlier, but it's not there anymore. Philip Morris did trigger a V2, but you know, yes, we came into the value zone. We only had, well, we had no days of sideways motion, none whatsoever. So that one I'm taking off. TSBK, big move up yesterday. I mean, rejection of the 70, most likely rejection of the third ATR channel. So no. AMED V2, but for me it's too high, and it is well off of its highs. Space. Well, you know, I know Karen has this, sure like to see this recover, but this is setting itself up for a nice V2 tomorrow, possibly. The false breakout to the downside, big rejection of Friday's low, but for me to get interested, I'd have to have a close above Friday's close for a V2. It could possibly do a V1 today. Be nice if it could close over that 50, so I'll keep that one. QDEL. Higher low V1. Rejection of the 50-day moving average. So close to the 50 RSI though, so that one concerns me a little bit. And then IONS is Honest Pharmaceuticals. On the weekly, we are above the 200, which is good, but we have that big bar, and we got right about halfway this week of last week's big down bar, which concerns me. Under 30, over 30. I'm concerned about us being at the halfway of that big bar down. Doesn't mean it can't go up. So, all right. So DBX looks good from a risk to reward standpoint. I like the sideways motion, the false breakout, rejection of the 30 ATR channel back over. Gives a very good risk to reward ratio. Buns, it's just too high for me, and it's already rejected the 1 ATR channel. And STAA. Yeah, I kind of think I like Dropbox the best. I think I like the sideways motion, the rejection, the move up, the very well-defined stop loss of a close below the 200-day moving average. So I think that's my favorite one today. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them there, so it's... But that's the key. Even if you have a lot of good ones, you kind of have to go through and just kind of pick the one that will looks best for you. You know, I mean, looks the best out of all of them. That's the key. All right, Domino's is doing great. EVRG is doing okay. It's holding its stop. Intel up a little bit, but well off of its highs, but holding its stop. MDB doing really well here. SPY, that's already taken care of. And TCDA has just been a monster today. David, okay, so Buns 821. Frank says, someone informed 007 that Warren Buffett may be the Goldfinger. That's true. Evan says AZN. AstraZeneca. So here's the thing with AstraZeneca. You see how we were above the 1 ATR channel, above the value zone. We came down. See how we made a lower high? This is lower than here. I would prefer that it wash these out first before triggering the V1 or V2. So that's the reason I would not buy AstraZeneca here. David says Google had a 520 crossover last Thursday. Yes, it did. And the crossover is still in place. Although I don't think that's the all-time great crossover for Google. It's the 1030 is the one that backtests the best, David. And you can see the 10 is still under the 30. If the 10 crosses over the 30 on Google, that's where I'll get interested in Google again. Kamal says, Greg, did you not do the list? I was waiting for J.O. Yeah, I did. I did J.O. And the thing about J.O. that I don't, I mean, I like the setup. I do. I like the V1, the close over the 200. I do like that. But what I mentioned was, you see how illiquid this is? How many bars don't have any trades? That concerns me. I mean, look, that's a good setup. I mean, it's a good setup with this close over the 200. It is. It gives you a good risk to reward ratio, but I'm just concerned about the liquidity. NKTR. But yeah, I did go through the list that I got from you, Kamal. NKTR under the 30 RSI again now. BZUN. I tried to look at BZUN and I was not able to find a back test on it with the 520. It wasn't available. Hey everybody, give me about 30 seconds. I've got to tend to Katie for 30 seconds. Give me a second. Okay, thanks. Gosh, I'll tell you what, my heart's a little heavy. You know, Katie is an old gal, and last week or so, she's kind of gone down a level. She's not eating much, and man, it just pains my heart. So she needed a little assistance there. Yeah, I do like JO. I really do. But again, like if we look in the middle of the day, it's so illiquid and not much volume traded. So that's why I'm just going to stay away from that one. Let's look here at Dropbox. You know, on the 39-minute chart, we moved up very strong this morning. We've come down. We're holding that halfway. So from a Fibonacci standpoint, this is where it should hold some support, and it's exactly where it did. So we have 5 minutes to go. So Domino's is great. Oh, look how close it got to the profit target. Darn it. EVRG is fine. Intel selling off at the end of the day. MDB, nice. SPY, buying that at the close, of course. TCDA, man, that was a monster. That was a monster trade. Okay. So it looks like for me, DBX is it. I'll wait a few minutes before placing that. Kamal says, must have dozed off. Do I put you to sleep, Kamal? Glenn says, US dollar down 5 months in a row against Canadian dollar. Yeah, dollar's been getting hurt for sure. Kamal says, BZUN does not backtest well. Hey, John, good to see you, bud. Nice having you here. John was one of my first viewers way back in the day. It's not too bad. I mean, it is forming a base here. It has a close over the 250-day moving average, which could be good. I don't know how that back test. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have. Weekly has that 50-week moving average. Not a lot of volume. Nothing that really sticks out to me, John. Sorry. Evan, sorry to hear about your Katie. Yeah, I'm just hoping that it's, you know, temporary kind of back, temporary kind of setback. I hope. It's been really hot, you know. But she's an old gal. She's 14, you know. I have had some German Shepherds to 15, but it's pretty rare. Steve says BZUN has negative performance with a 520 cross. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that, my friend. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the scanner here kicked out a lot of good ones. I mean, these could be good. I mean, they really could. You know, I'm struggling with Star Surgical, but this huge move down, it's, you know, how likely it is it's going to come back right back into that. I think it's less likely than it is. DBX doesn't seem all that exciting, but at least we have some sideways motion here and a rejection to the downside. So that's good information to have. All right, I'm going to go ahead and buy DBX right now. Okay, that's taken care of. All right, we have 1 minute. Five seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bing. All right. So, DBX. And SPY were my two new entries on the day. Listen, if you have any new entries for me today or any new exits for me today, this is the time. Put it in the chat and I will get everything squared away. Before I do that, just real quick, just want to put in my end of day plug. I hope everybody's okay with that, but I do offer private one-on-one coaching and teaching lessons in the evening time via Skype. I love to teach. I think I'm pretty good at it. I've had really good success with my clients. I have traded for over 24 years. I've studied with some great traders and some great authors, such as Stephen Burns, who's in the chat with us today, Dr. Alexander Elder, Kerry Lavorne, Larry Williams, and the course I teach you everything that I've learned from these four gentlemen, as well as what I've learned in my experience over 24 years, which is a lot. I do offer a course. It's 15 hours. It's 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours, so a total of 15 hours, and I teach you everything I've learned and everything I've been taught. And I think you'll like the course. I really do. I think when you get done with the course, you'll be able to look at whatever's going on in whatever kind of market situation, be able to identify levels, be able to position size correctly based upon the volatility, know where your emergency stops are, your end of day stops, your intermediate profit targets, your ultimate profit targets, your phase out areas. So it's a really good course. So if you've been thinking about it, please reach out to me. You can send me an email or you can send me an email. The email's in the description of this video. You can also send me a message on Twitter. I'm at Gossett Trading on Twitter. And if you do contact me, I'll say, hey, how's it going? Let's set up a Skype call. The Skype call is totally free. It is not a sales call. I will never ask you if you want to take the course. I just want to get to know you a little bit better, understand your trading, your challenges, your goals, and then it's a really good time for you to ask me questions about the course, right? Instead of, I have people write me say, please tell me about your course. I'm like, how about we have a Skype call? So I don't have to type. I'm not being lazy. I can just explain it better, right? And like I said, it's not a sales call. I'll just, when we're done with the call, I'll say, hey, it was nice talking to you. Think about it. If you're interested, you know how to contact me, right? It is $1,000, but I think it is definitely well worth the money. I think it's worth much more than that, to be honest with you, but I do try to make it affordable. And so, and then if you like today's podcast and you find it helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button before you leave, or before you click out of here. It does help build the channel. And there are a lot of people out there that need help with trading. And if we could get them to this channel or any other channel, there's lots of great channels where they could just learn good trading principles, especially these newer traders, right? These Robinhood traders that are just coming in. I don't think they have the context of what the market is normally really like, and I'm certain that they're going to get hurt. I don't know when, but I almost feel certain that they are going to get hurt dramatically because they're going to hold on to a move that has gone way down and never recovers. I'm not saying when that's going to happen. Maybe it's not for 4 months or 6 months or a year. I don't know, right? But I'd like to be able to input some good information to them. So that if and when that situation comes, they know maybe something to do, right? And anyway, long way of saying, if you hit the thumbs up button, it builds the channel and hopefully gets more people here that we can help. All right. Kamal out of Goldman Sachs. Oh, I took Goldman Sachs off because that was my day trade. Okay. All right. Kamal's out of Goldman Sachs. Yeah, that one just didn't go. And look, this doesn't always happen, but if you remember, this is the bar where I got out. This is where Steve got out. A bunch of us got out because this was such a negative bearish bar, right? Not picking on Kamal because Kamal kicks everybody's butt most of the time. But I'm just saying, when you have this kind of big rejection bearish bar, it's generally probably a good policy to get out on these kind of volatility bars. But I know Kamal was waiting to see if it would hold to 200, and that was his plan. It's fine, but it didn't hold to 200, and that's why he got out. DBX. All right. Kamal and I are in DBX. Nice. Oh, and by the way, I got in DBX in 1990. And then I got into my new SPY trade at very close, just a little under where I sold it this morning. 337.91. Okay, that takes care of those two. David is in DBX. DRI, Bob is at a DRI. Great trade. Great trade. Congratulations, Bob. You're hot, Bob. You're hot, buddy. You are hot. Don't get cocky. That's the main thing. Which is a good time to bring this up. When you're on a good streak and everything's working, please do not get cocky. The trading gods do not like it, and they will humble you if you get cocky. I'm not even kidding. You know, Steve, you understand what I'm talking about. People who've been trading for a long time, you understand what I'm talking about, right? Evan says, took a position in MCHP. MCHP. Okay. $103.28. That's not going to work. Okay, who is that again? Oh, that was Evan. Evan M&M's. Gary says, Greg, I got out of SO with a small loss last week. Okay, good. Glad to hear that. Small losses are acceptable, right? That's the thing, Gary, right? No one's ever going to trade without losses. The key is just keeping them small. Okay, Frank took a position in DBX. Nice to have you along, Frank, on the DBX train. I like this trade. Of course, I don't know whether it's going to go up, but you know, looking at the context of the trade, we had a pullback, right? It went down and down, but finally some buyers stepped in and started holding. Didn't go up much, but it was holding the bottom. We're down here at the low RSI area. The key, though, was the big move down Friday and the strong move right back up. That's good information to have. It means the market tried. It already came down here, tested it, didn't like it. Doesn't mean it can't go back down there, but it's good information to have. We have a very good risk to reward. It's a very clean stop loss to close under the 200-day moving average. And again, on the weekly, we held the 50-week moving average. So there's a good confluence of signals. So I'm not saying this is going to go up. Obviously, if I knew, I would have bought a ton, but I don't know. So all I can do is manage risk, and it's a good risk to reward. I have some movement up here potential. Gary says, anybody having trouble with Thinkorswim? Mine's lagging and spotty missed DBX trade as a result. Oh, it's too bad. Yes, Gary, I did hear today on the news that Thinkorswim's having some issues today. I did read that. Dan says, Gary, me as well. Frank says, I also had trouble with it. Brian says, LVGO. Okay. LVGO. 129.46. Brian M. This morning I woke up and I was trading, and about an hour into the market, my electricity went off. Like 20 houses in my neighborhood went off. So I had to use my hotspot on my phone. I was like, how much battery do I have? So if I'm never on here for some reason, it was a technical issue, most likely. Most likely. And luckily, I don't think I haven't missed a day in 2 years, but I've had 4 or 5 times from a technical standpoint where I thought, oh, I don't think this is going to work today. But anyway, hopefully we keep the streak alive. Frank says, humble pie is really good with whipped cream. You got to have humble pie, everybody. I'm telling you, learn from people like Frank and Steve and myself. If you get cocky, you just don't think as clearly. And I know it's human nature, but you can read market wizards that always say my biggest losses have always come after my biggest wins. Bob says, I don't want to get cocky, but I've also been in TCDA with you all. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. Bob's hot. Bob is hot. Let's put you on there, Bob. But I'm glad you preface it with you're not getting cocky. Boy, what a trade that was, huh? Let's look at that one more time as far as why I took that trade. This is something I don't talk a lot about, but when I use the alligator was created by Bill Williams based on chaos theory. But when the alligator is sleeping when the blue, the red, and the green lines are intertwined. It basically means it's going sideways. You can look at this. You don't really need that to know. But when you have sideways motion, and then you have a fractal is a high with 2 lower highs to the left, 2 lower highs to the right. MACD was positive, and we went under 30 over 30. That's why I like that trade, and it took off like a monster. But I'm glad you're in with us, Bob. Bob has a little shush sign with his emoji. That's funny. Quad says, hey, Greg, thumbs up as always. I am out of TCDA. Oh, you are? Okay. All right. I've been and SWBI. Okay, I'm glad to hear that, Quad. It's tough to take a loss, but like you learn from our lessons, I mean, your stop got hit. It may go roaring back up tomorrow, and that will be a bummer, but the most important thing is that you followed your plan. So I'm proud of you. I am also in DBX. And still hanging on to your Intel. Yeah. I'm telling you, Intel is going to move one way or the other. I don't know which way. I certainly wish I knew. If it was going down, I'd buy a ton of puts, right? But we don't know. But, I do like that MACD is positive. To me, that's a little bit of an indication that maybe the break will be to the upside. But who knows? It could go crashing down tomorrow. We never know. Yas. Hi, Yas. Hi, are you in California? Yep, the power has been in and out these days. No, I am not, Yas. I'm in Utah, and it was a emergency repair. It was weird. I looked up the name of the power company, and I was looking at their 800 number, and I started to dial. I got halfway through dialing it, and then my phone rang with that exact same number. So I was trying to call them, and just as I was calling them, they called me, and it was a recording saying there's emergency out, power's going to be out, so and so. But yeah, in California, I know they've been having those rolling blackouts, like back in the 2000s. I think we had it. Was it somewhere around there? But thanks for coming, Yas. Bob says TCDA has an August 22 PDUFA date for NDA for its TRC 101, a non-absorbed, orally administered polymer designed to treat metabolic acidosis in patients with chronic kidney disease. Oh, well, that sounds good. Well, that explains our move up. My orange line there is my level to institute a trailing stop. It's so close, I'm not going to get religious about it. So if I get a close below the previous day's low, out. If I reject the 50 to the upside, get out of half, and then wait to get out of the other half if we get a close below the previous day's low. But yeah, so far so good. Bob says, with FDA's communication to the company in mid-July stating that it has identified deficiencies in the application, it is less likely that the investigational drug is approved by D-Day. 2001, Yas says. Yeah, I thought it was back then. Quad says, Greg, you got to invest in some APC battery backups. I don't even know what that is, Quad. I know you're a tech guy, but that does sound good. So you're saying that I could buy something so if the electricity goes off, my internet and everything doesn't go down? Hey, by the way, for my current clients out there, like Gary and Quad and Kamal, I have been working on an improvement in my exiting plan. I've been working on it pretty hard for a month, and this weekend I worked on it a ton, and I think I've got it dialed in. So if you could reach out to me, my current clients, if you could reach out to me, I'd like to schedule a Skype call with you. It's free, of course, right? You've already paid for the course, but I'd like to spend an hour or so, or 40 minutes or whatever it takes. I'd like to update you on what I've come up with, because I am going to start making an adjustment here in my trading. So for all my past clients out there, I'll contact you. I'll do my best, send out an email and contact you. But if you're listening right now, and like David, of course, I do have one thing that I am changing that I feel pretty good about. If you look at how I trade now compared to a year ago, it's different. If you look at how I'm going to trade in a year from now, it will probably be different, right? Because I'm always kind of trying to improve what I'm doing, and I do that by spending hours and hours and hours doing simulations and looking at. But anyway, I'll send out an email. But like I said, I would like to be able to schedule a Skype call with you and tell you about the developments and some of the updates. Nothing wrong with what was before, nothing at all. I just think it's an improvement. So yeah, APC, I'm going to ask my tech guy. APC battery backups. Hey, thanks for that, Quad. And yeah, get a hold of me so I can explain, because you're one of my previous clients. So, but yeah, Kamal and Quad and Gary and David. Let's see. And I'll be explaining it to the group as well. So, yes, says, look at this. It could keep a laptop moded and router going for a few hours. Thank you, Yas. That's kind of you. Very nice of you. So listen, any other questions at all for me today? Any other new entries or exits? Or need clarification on anything? Or basically, do you need anything from me? Let's see what's happening in the after hours world. Apple's down a bit. Apple was down today. Interesting, Apple was down so much today on a strong up day in the NASDAQ. DBX is up a little bit. Domino's Pizza is unchanged. EVERG is unchanged. Intel is down a penny. MDB is unchanged. SPY is up 13 cents. TCDA is up 3 cents. Frank says, I've heard about a product called Carnivora for dogs that might be worth checking out. Okay, I'll write that down. Is it a like a hip kind of thing for arthritis? I have Katie, I have her on medication from the vet, and I also do give her, I give her everything, just whatever I can possibly give her to help her. But thank you, Frank. I wrote that down. All right. Well, so we got some new entries on here. We've got Brian, a new entry. We took some off. We'll see how DBX works. Okay, well listen, have a good rest of your day. Please go out and try to do something nice for somebody today. Just a smile or a wave or a hello, or just a nice deed, or just be pleasant. Just something that helps improve our world a little bit. And I think if everybody were just nice, a little nicer to everybody and did one nice little thing each day, it would really have an exponential effect. And so if you could do that for one human today, that would be nice. If you could also do one nice little something for an animal, that would be fantastic. It's just a little rub, or a little scratch, or throw the ball, or a little treat, that would be good as well. But one nice thing for a human and one nice thing for an animal, that would be fantastic. All right, so I hope you have a good rest of your day. Be good, be safe, and again, if you could hit the thumbs up button before you get out of here, I would really appreciate that. And all right, I think that's it. Thank you for coming today, everybody, and hopefully we'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye now. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation, and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.